You know why it takes a week to get photos done as a quality photo editor? Because there's a lot of different passes. First pass is to cut down the photos from however many thousands of photos to, a manageable amount. Then the next pass is to do a rough grade across all of the photos. And then, a final pass, sometimes a couple of final passes, but usually there's one major pass where all the cropping is done. The photos are like cut down to the final amount, which let's say it's 420 photos. It's then cut down to like 350. It's the longest pass, and it usually takes a couple of days. But what is required in order to get a photo shoot done in a week? A lot of work. And as a wedding photographer, oftentimes you're your own boss. And now, how hard is it in 2023 to be your own boss and not get distracted, to actually put in the work? I don't know. For me, I found it to be, incredibly difficult. It's been incredibly difficult to get started, to get working. But that's where the trick is. It's actually the easiest thing in the world. It's the hardest thing and the easiest thing. It's the hardest thing because we see it as a mountain. I'm not just talking about photography. I'm talking about anything, building anything, a house and whatnot, making a video, my specialty. I've done some videos that have taken a lot longer than a week. Some that have averaged 200, 250 hours. That's a lot of hours. When you're staring at that mountain, that's a pretty tall mountain. Oftentimes I procrastinate getting started. But once I get started, I'm going. I'm usually going till it's done. Rarely do I get off track. Maybe out of necessity. Hey, it's time to go to bed. That's not a distraction. That's a necessity. Hey, it's time to eat. Hey, it's time to do this. Hey, it's time to do that. But it does sometimes get difficult to get back on track. And so that can be a bit grueling when every single day you got to wake up and you got to get on track. You got to start again. You got to get started again. Because like I mentioned, the hardest part is getting started. Because we see all that is behind the getting started. But once we're started, then we're just rolling. Then we're present. Then we're right here, right now. 2 photos in out of 1,000. 2 out of 4,000. Not thinking about the 4,000. Because that's even more brutal. You're constantly thinking about the 4,000 while you're doing the 4,000. Wow. Hope and pray that doesn't stick with you the whole time. Eventually you just I like to think, you just forget about it. You forget about the mountain ahead of you and you just one step after another. When you finally look up, you're a quarter way up the mountain, you look around, you're like, man, that was awesome. But then you're like, damn it, I woke up. Now I gotta walk not on autopilot, which is more tough. Eventually after, you take 30, 40, 50 steps, then you get back into the zone again. Keep walking till you get halfway up the mountain. You're like, whoa, how much time has passed? Whoa, can't even believe it. I've done all this walking. I've done all this work. That was easy. It was easy as pie. I feel like it's not unlike trying to fall asleep. Many of us have trouble going to sleep because, well, it's funny. Many of us wouldn't sleep if we had the choice, but we don't have a choice. We have to go to sleep. The problem we have with sleep is that we tell ourselves to sleep. Sleep, 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 sleep. Just go to sleep. We're thinking so much about the sleeping that we can't fall asleep. We have something important to do tomorrow. We're thinking about so much about tomorrow. We need to go to sleep. Dang it. What if I do this? Maybe I'll start to sleep. Maybe what if I do this? Maybe I'll start to sleep. It's when we give up. We just fall asleep. When we forget about needing to fall asleep because it's pointless now. We have to get up in 2 hours now, No way we're going to get enough sleep now. So shit, if I get it, I get it. Knockout. What was my trick? I've tried it before. I've tried that. I've had that experience. Oh, wow. Once I just stopped caring, I was able to fall asleep. Let me just do that. Let me just not care. Okay. I stayed up all night trying to work on this paper. I have rehearsal in the morning. It's unfortunate, but I'm only going to get 4 hours of sleep if I go to sleep right now. And because I'm so stressed out about having to go to sleep right now, I need to get 4 hours of sleep. I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. Well, screw it. I guess I'm not going to get any sleep tonight. Whatever. We'll see. I guess best I can hope for is 2 hours. Knockout. I get my 4 hours in. It's like we have to constantly use little tricks in order to make things happen. But eventually, it seems like we get it figured out. We find a solution that works for us. If we're searching for an answer. Oof, that's where it gets tough. Not everybody's searching for the answers. What happens if I lay the answers on them? Well, then I forget them. What was the point of me looking for them to begin with? Seems to me like it's so I can pass them on. But the reality, I better not. For if I do, and there was no purpose in me finding them in the first place, right? Because they elude me. Not a good idea for me to be speaking about them here. But have I really said anything? Have I said anything? I'm just making some observations. Yeah. That's the trick. All that. I don't know. You got all that you need to figure out what you need to figure out. So be your own guest. Be my guest. Make it so that I did a good thing with my words. That would feel good. And you don't have to tell me. It'll feel good either way. I guess. Maybe I'm just making a mess. I'll figure that out someday.